Hey Joe, this is Chad, AutoValueAI. I just wanted to record this install for you. I know you had something come up, you couldn't join the call, but I just wanted to share this with you as quickly as you could get it so that you could start using the tool as quickly as possible. The tool has two screens, the summary screen here and the detail screen. Just by clicking on one of these vehicles, I think I've got an F-250 I kind of picked that I liked. Yeah, there's an F-250 I liked. I'm going to click on the vehicle anywhere on the row, and it brings up that particular vehicle. Once it's brought up, you have an AI index at the very top. This is representative of your level of need for the parts that are good on this particular vehicle. The higher the number, the higher your level of need for those parts, and also the fact that it's probably going to have more parts. You get a very, very high number, you'll end up with a vehicle that's probably repairable, and you'll probably be difficult to buy one that's got a 1,200 points or something like that. I intentionally chose a lower number, trying to find one that was wrecked for this demo. As you can see, you got pictures of the vehicle. You can scroll through those pictures and look at it. The system has already downloaded those images and analyzed them to determine what's good and what's bad. We look down here, we can see that we've got some flagged as good, some flagged as bad here. And with them flagged as, say you decided you wanted to override the flag of good or bad, you can just toggle through that if you want to. And so toggle through, you can change bad to good, good to bad. You also can change A to B, B to C, etc. If you'll also notice that the valuation goes down when you change it over to, oh, I got to configure that for you. It must not be configured yet for you, but you can make it decrease the value of the part as you toggle from A, B, and C. It also has run a VIN code to determine how that vehicle is equipped with the correct interchange numbers for each part. In the event that we're not certain of an interchange number, there'll be a red triangle to the left of this saying that you may want to validate and be sure, and you can click the icon, the little pencil icon here, to see if there's an alternative interchange number. In this example, there's not, so it just has the one choice for you. Next, we query your, let's see, your Powerlink. We query your Powerlink system for your quantity on hand, sales, demand, standard wholesale price, average invoice amount, average asking price. All comes from your Powerlink system. And so all the data here is all populated there. So you've got your quantity on hand. You could hover over and it actually shows you your exact details, your stock number, and all your details about it. And you've got 90-day sales and 90-day demand. This can be toggled to 180 days or 365 days if you choose to change to something longer. It's in the settings. I'll show that to you in just a second. Standard price, average sale price, average asking price, again, all come from within your system. Einstein price would be what the Einstein pricing tool would price that same part for in your inventory. Average regional price is simply running a locate around you to see what people around you are asking for the same part. In the event that they regional price is a different color, it means there's not one immediately available around you, and it had to go to a larger region to find that. And so if you see one that's blue in color, it's probably hit a bigger region to try to find it. So a lot of times those are cherry pieces that you could go after. Part type adjustment would be an adjustment that you define as you want to decrease the valuation on the part type. Here's an example here of 50%. This is for a rear bumper assembly. A lot of times people will want to discount the bumpers because they're damaged in transit, and you'll end up with one with a good bit of damage on it. And so that is a setting. I'll show you what that setting is also. Age discount is for sheet metal parts that may end up with rust or corrosion, and you can configure how that would kick in automatically as the vehicle gets a little bit older. It's based on the age of the vehicle. If it gets 10, 12, 14 years old, you may want to start subtracting 25, 30, 40% off the valuation on the sheet metal to cover for the possibility of rust or corrosion. But I know you're not in a rust belt area, but still it's there. If you wanted to discount by age, you could. Mileage discount only affects mechanical parts, and it's also configurable. Once a mechanical part has over 100,000 miles, you've got increments of 25,000 mile increments where you can downgrade the valuation of those parts however you want to. I'll show you that on the settings also. Core value upcharge, you can turn on where the core charge will be added to this valuation, because you know that buying this vehicle is going to let you sell the part and get the core charge for it. So you could add some core value there if you chose you wanted to. The projected sales number here is coming from source number 1. I'll hover over that. It says average sales in the past 90 days. So that 2713 is coming right here from this number right here. And this is configurable as to how you want this number to flow over. In this example here, I've got you configured for source 1 being average sales, source 2 right here is average asking price, and source 3 is a regional price. You can configure these in the settings however you want to. Again, I'll show that to you in just a second. We take the projected sales numbers and total them up down at the very bottom, grand total of 8335. Bring that number back up to the top up here. So there's your 8335. And then we've got a fixed overhead number that is a configurable number. Basically, we're saying how much profit do you want to make if you're expected to sell $8,300 worth of parts off this vehicle. So that is a configurable number. I've already got it pre-configured for you at numbers that make sense for most everybody. Next, we've got estimated auction fees. We're subtracting out what we think the auction fee will be based on your settings of how you want, how you configure it. If you're a high volume buyer, if you live bid or pre-bid, those different fees are a little bit different based on how you configure that. And so I'll show you that in the settings also. Transportation cost is also a configurable number for whichever auction that you are buying from. In this example here, Betsy, I'm recording a install for Joe. He did not make the call, but I am recording the call to share the recording with him. And so you can stay there if you like, but just it's actively recording right now. Okay, the transportation costs are configurable also for whichever auction that you may be coming from. And so this vehicle is located in Longview, Texas. And so that is a configurable transportation cost. I'll show you that in the settings just a minute. So now you've got a 4238 recommended max bid. It's right there. And then if you like that idea, you could say, yeah, I do plan on bidding $4,300 for it. And you could type in the 4,300, it automatically saves that, and you could then flag that particular vehicle as okay to bid. So now we've got that flagged as okay to bid. We go back to the summary page over here, and we can see there is our $4,300 we just typed in, and there is our flag of okay to bid. Notice when you hover over okay to bid, you can select other options such as pending, excluded, bid placed, one pending, one final, and lost. If you want to change the status of vehicles just by clicking them here on the summary screen, you can also change them here. You even can just double tap right here, and it changes it to okay to bid. A single tap changes it to pending, and again, a double tap is okay to bid. And so you can toggle those however you want. But most of the time, people would dig in just a touch deeper, see the vehicle on the detail page, and then do a planned bid amount specifically for that vehicle. So this is this 2010 F250. There's an example right there with the red icon. We're not absolutely certain of that. And so you can click the icon there and choose which one you want. We've already pre-selected which parts are bad there and queried your interchange, your sales and demand and quantity on hand prices. There's an example there where we've got a price that's more of a regional price instead of just a close local locate for you. All right, so now we could say we wanted to bid, 5,500 right here, and it's already flagged as okay to bid. Now let's go back over to the summary page. Now that we're on this summary page here, we've got the bid summary, the filtered out, and the live bid tabs. We're going to click on live bid right here, and you can see that those vehicles that I flagged as okay to bid are now appearing here according to how you need to bid on them as they come up at the auctions. So notice that we've got IAA Fort Worth North, lane A, and you've got two vehicles here, and they're sorted by run number. Lane A, Everett, Fort Worth. The lane has not been assigned yet. This one's out into the future tomorrow. It's not been assigned yet. Here's an example here where Longview has got lane A and lane B. They're broken down. You can print these out by clicking print, and then click print up here a second time, and then it will print out one page per lane, so you can work that auction live if you wanted to from hard copy paper. And so it's there to do. Again, that is available under the live bid tab if you're going to be bidding live. If you're not bidding live, you can simply click the lot number on the vehicle, and that lot number takes you straight to the IAA or Copart or Salvato auction listing, so you can place that pre-bid yourself directly on that page. And so again, that lot number is accessible on the summary page here, or you can go into the detail page and click the place bid icon right there. The place bid icon will take you straight to that listing also on Copart or IA, so you can place that bid. One thing to point out on the summary page, you also have the buy it now prices available here. And so if you wanted to sort and look by something that may have a buy it now, there are instances where the buy it now is actually lower than the recommended high bid. And so if you say we're recommending, $82.91, there's a possibility that, it may have a buy it now for, $7,000. In that instance, you would be prompted or emailed to say, here's a vehicle with a low buy it now. You may want to jump on it and try to buy this one because it's a pretty good deal according to what we can analyze. Up top, you've got 4 tabs across the top: My Auctions, Extended Auctions, Ultra Extended, and Manufacturer Auctions. Each of these tabs are configurable as to which auctions you want to appear in the tabs. And so if you say My Auctions, each of these auctions are in that particular tab, configured inside the settings. I'll show you that in just a minute. Same thing with the extended auctions. You can configure which auctions you want to work. Same thing with ultra extended. Just imagine these as different radiuses that you may be willing to buy from, and they're configurable as to how you want to arrange that, which auctions you're buying from. Now, at the same time you click that tab to choose the different auctions, it's also changing a different set of default filters. Watch when I click over to extended auctions, the default filters just changed. I go to ultra extended and the default filters just changed also. So not only are the auctions changing here in the drop down, but the filters are changing also. The idea here is that if you're buying further away, you may be more restrictive on what filters you want applied so that you can buy a nicer vehicle as you go further away from your operation. Now, the filters here, like I said, they are configurable for what default filters you want, but you also can adjust them on the fly however you choose to do so. You can click anywhere on the row for the filter. I normally like to click over to the right side in the open space, and it will expand the filters so that you can adjust them to whatever you want. And so, again, you've got to filter by auction date and auction by grade, AI index score, Hollander number, won or okay to bid or lost status, year model, maximum number of times listed, maximum number of unique lot numbers. This is basically how many times it's been rerun. You can filter by make, by model, by body style, by mileage, by title type, by seller type, by drive line, 2-wheel and 4-wheel drive, by engine displacement, by actual cash value, minimum and maximum, by damage type, by projected break-even days, by transmission type, distance the vehicle is located from you. If the current bid exceeds the recommended bid by a percentage, you can filter it out. And then lastly would be the recommended bid amount. Maybe you don't want to bid on anything that's under a $500 recommended bid. You could do that also right here. So you got all these filters. These filters can be applied or removed on the fly just simply by adjusting the way I just showed, or by clicking the X up here on the top of the page and remove those as needed. Again, you can shrink it back down by clicking here. All right, let's run through what the grade is. The grade is a representation of what is the projected profitability of that particular vehicle. You've got 4 different rankings: excellent, good, fair, poor, well, actually 5, and not available. So let's just look at excellent and good. So I choose excellent and good, and you can choose here, see here that the grade is excellent or good. These, if you hover over, will give you a score, actually what the score is for that particular vehicle. And the higher the score, you're going to have 3 things that happen: a lower break-even day, a higher total profit, and a higher total number of parts that will sell off the vehicle. And so we take the entire list of auction vehicles and divide it into 4 groups, and we say, the bottom percentage is poor, and then fair, and then good, and then excellent. And so we're just breaking them up. to give you a good idea of what the projected profitability would be for each of these particular vehicles. Now, if you do choose to buy vehicles that are ranked more like fair or poor, we do expect those to have longer break-even days and lower total profitability. And so, but they are there, and you can buy them. You see things like a Porsche Cayenne. Now, you may say, well, darn, there's a Tahoe, there's an F-150. These may actually be configured a little bit differently. They may be regular cab or crew extra cab, and then maybe two-wheel drive, may have a different engine that you don't have demand for. So be aware of that. You will find some vehicles here that you think would probably be good performers, but they may not be, based on what the projections are for what you're going to sell. We found that this grade is fairly accurate on helping you make decisions. Secondly, we've got that AI index score for you here. Again, the higher the AI index score is, the more likely that you need each of the parts that are good on that vehicle. And so you can sort by AI index score and try to buy ones that are just a little bit higher. Again, you will find some of the highest AI index score. Let's actually remove these filters here just to show you. The highest AI index score is 1,121 points. Look at these pictures. You're probably going to find a vehicle that's not wrecked. And I am correct. It is not wrecked. And so every part is good on it, and you need those parts. Therefore, it's getting a high score. We actually look at that vehicle on a detail screen. I just clicked on that particular row. It takes it just a second to bring it up, and we can see that we have flagged all the parts as being good on that particular vehicle, and you do have a decent amount of need for those parts with a low quantity on hand. So they are scoring pretty high and helping you, select the vehicles that you need. Truthfully, this one's probably not going to be viable because it's going to be a clean title that's not wrecked. It's going to be sold for a rebuilder. Also, just a tidbit, if the damage includes something like mechanical or engine, we will flag the corresponding parts bad. And so if we see it's got hail damage, we'll flag those corresponding parts bad also, just to be certain that you don't miss anything. And so we are doing that. So now let's talk about some of the settings. So shrink the filters back down. Let's go over to the settings menu. And here you can see in the settings that we've got, what methods do you typically pay for and bid on Copart vehicles? Because again, we're choosing different auction fees to share with you based on that. Same thing for IAA, high volume or low volume, and then pre-bid or not. And then general settings, you're in the South, so we're going to do a regional locate around you that's from the South. You're not Canadian, so you're going to use miles. We will pull in demand data from your auto responses inside the Smart Quoter product if you're using the Smart Quoter product, and so we can pull that in for you. How many days of sales history do you want to use? Most people would say 90, but you can select 180 and 365 if you choose. Quantity exclusions. This is basically saying do not count my quantity on hand if the part is a C grade part, or if it's in a certain store number or has a certain category. Maybe you've got some stuff in a S category you don't want us to count. You could exclude that if you choose to right there. Core values, how much is that part worth to sell to a core buyer? And then what percentage of that do you want to apply to each individual part? Most yards will use 25%. However, setting this number here does not necessarily mean that it will be applied to each and every part. I'll show you where I have to check the box to actually turn that on. We have the ability to let you let the general public submit vehicles to you to bid on, and here's where you would enable that. You could enable the private seller just by turning it on right here, and then you've got a link that you could send to the general public to actually have that vehicle imaged and VIN captured and all that, and then it transmits to you inside AutoValueAI. Auto assesses that vehicle and then tells you what that vehicle is worth. Also, if you're running any type of a self-serve type yard and you needed an internal check-in to see if that self-serve vehicle or something you bought over the scales was worth running over into the full service side instead of going the self-serve side, this is a feature here where you can have that link and check those vehicles in, and then it will analyze to see if those vehicles meet the criteria that you've configured to have them flagged to move over to the full serve side. And so that's an internal check-in for somebody who's running a hybrid yard. Next, When you're opening the auction, you can make the auction tabs open a little bit differently. The auction right now is opening just as a tab, but you could make it open as a browser. The detail screen is currently opening as a tab, but again, you could make it open as a browser. If you intend to run AutoValueAI on multiple monitors, you could turn this on, and then as they launch on a separate browser, you slide that browser to monitor 2 and monitor 3, and then you can just run through, and everything updates automatically in real time as you click on different stuff on different screens. So that is there also. If you have a VinMatch Pro account, you could put the VinMatch Pro account URL in right here, and then there is a link on this page over here. Right over here it says vehicle history, and that vehicle history tab could lead over to VinMatch Pro if you've got a VinMatch Pro account, if you need to do a background check on that vehicle. Next section would be the part type setting. So in the event that the 2 bed sides might be good on a particular truck, we can convert the bed sides into a bed if it is 7 years old or newer and the bed is worth $1,200 or more. This is a configurable setting, so you can change it to whatever you want to. Also, if the transmission is a CVT, we can automatically devalue that down to a 0 if it's a CVT, just by checking the box here as to what you want to do. Next, we've got the list of all the part types that are analyzed by the AI tool to determine what's good and bad. And so all of these part types are all analyzed by AI. There is a group of parts down below that are not analyzed by AI. So these part types are not analyzed by AI, and I'll get to those in just a second. So we know using the AI which of these parts are good or bad, and we can flag them accordingly. All right, so let's talk about core value. Maybe you want to include the core value for the engine and transmission. You would just simply check these 2 boxes here. And so you can do that for whichever part types that you choose to. Next, we've got settings related to how you want to value that part. Remember earlier I talked about devaluing the bumpers by 50%. And so this is a prime example right here where that bumper was devalued by 50% to run its price down because of the expectation of damage on it. You also can run down the AI index score on the part, but this is not recommended to use right here. Normally, you're just going to decrease the value of the part. Next, you can turn on a discount because of a excessive quantity on hand for a particular part. So say that you've got an engine and you've got 3 of them in stock and you want to do a 50% discount because you've got 3 of them in stock. This is a configurable setting right here as to what you'd like to do. This is a very rare feature right here, but some yards want to increase the value of a part if it's current 7 years and they do not have one in stock. And so I've seen some guys actually say, when my quantity on hand is 0, increase the value by 20%. And so this is typically for like a mechanical part if you want to do that, but most yards do not use it. Again, you make a change here, you're going to click the save icon up here. When you click save, you have pending update that pops up for about 30 to 60 seconds. And while that's appearing, your calculations on each vehicle may be off a little bit because it is currently running, trying to run those calculations. Give it just a minute before you go back to the dashboard to look at the vehicles. That pending update will disappear in just a couple of seconds. Next, we've got the part types that are not analyzed by AI. If you want to make these appear on the list, you simply slide these little sliders over to 100% for that first one, and then to the corresponding percentage that you want to use for the valuation of the part. And so, like if you wanted to treat ABS pumps at 100%, just like we do other parts up here, you'd slide both of these over to 100%. If you wanted to devalue an ABS pump by 25%, you drop it down right there. So just by sliding these sliders over, you're turning that part type on to appear inside the detail screen, and we're analyzing the value of that part for each vehicle. Now, because we do not know if the part is truly good or bad because it's not visible in the pictures, there is an assumption that we have to make. And we're over here is where we're going to assume the part is good if this happens right here. Any other part is good. And you can set up exactly which parts that are being analyzed by the AI to say, hey, we know the front bumper is good, the 2 headlights are good, so therefore let's assume that the airbag is good. And again, those are configurable. However you want to configure that as to which parts that we know are good can help you make a decision on which secondary parts are good or bad. Let's do this and say 1 And if I've got one or more, then do 100% discount, save that. And now I will probably see ABS pumps show up whenever I go back over to the detail page in just a minute. Scroll down just a touch lower, and this is where we get your rust discounts. All right, we call it old age, you know, because you are in the South. It is applicable in the South. However you want to just define that old age discounts. And as the vehicle ages and gets a little older, you may decide that you want to discount the value of the sheet metal components by this percentage. Again, this is a default configuration, but it's not turned on for you unless you actually tell it which auction sites to give you that discount for. I'll show you that in just a second. Okay, so that's all the settings here on part type settings. We go to auction groups, and under the auction groups tab, we have all of the auctions, Copart, IAA, Salvado. They're all appearing here on the far left side. This first three columns here basically telling you it's in Grand Prairie, Texas. And so as you scroll down, you'll find that, you know, Grand Prairie, Grand Prairie, Grand Prairie, and then we get to Irving and Arlington, so forth and so on. These are sorted by the distance from your front door to their storage lot. Notice right here, the distance is set to 0 miles. They're in the exact same zip code as what you are. So therefore, it is, you know, 0. This is the way the crow flies, center of center to the zip code. And so if it may be down the street from you 2 or 3 miles, but it's got the same zip code. So we're just looking at center of zip code to center of zip code. All right, so now they're sorted by distance in ascending order here, and then you can choose which auction you want to appear for the My Auctions, My Extended Auctions, Ultra Extended Auctions, and you simply check the boxes as to what you want to appear where. And so you can turn them on or off as to how you want that to work. And so I've pre-selected some here to appear in the My Auctions tab for you, some Salvado, IAA, and Copart auctions that are, I think, within about 100-mile radius of you. So you'll see that I've checked a good number of those that are pretty close to you. All right, now next you can say, do I want to apply that old age discount? And so this is selectable for each auction in case you decide to start buying from auctions up north where they do have rust. You could say, apply that old age discount so that I don't have rusty parts coming back down that I'm paying too much for. Next, we've got the transportation cost. This would be the flat fee associated with moving the vehicle from Grand Prairie to your facility. We've got a different designation for cars and trucks because sometimes there's a secondary hauler involved with loading a truck. Lastly, we've got a cost per mile. This is based on how far this number is here. So this is 0 miles. You know, how much is that cost per mile beyond the flat fee? So sometimes you have a flat fee plus a cost per mile. This is configurable either way. You could just have a flat fee, or you could have a flat fee plus a cost per mile, and we calculate that on the fly. And again, that is represented over here as a transportation cost right here, and it would do the math automatically for you based on how far that vehicle is from you. And so this particular one's 31 miles from you, and so it's over in Justin, Texas, 31 miles away. And if you had that configured, it would adjust that transportation cost for you accordingly. Lastly, you've got a default bid method, and you can say, I want to use a certain bid method. It can be A, B, or C based on which auction you're buying from. Sometimes you're buying from maybe Salvado, you want to use a bid method B. Copart and IAA, you may want to use bid method A, and you may want to have different calculations. You may want to use bid method C for buying stuff off the street. Maybe you want to use bid method B for buying stuff off the street from a private seller. It's configurable however you want to do that. And so you choose which method you want for which particular auction you're trying to buy from. Okay. We talked about notifications earlier, and I made a change. Let me hit save on that. And so notifications, you put in your cell phone number, you send a code, you get the code texted to you, you verify that's your number. Similar with an email address, you want notifications to come via email, put in your email address right there and turn that on to yes. Very simple. Bid calculations. This is where we have bid method A, bid method B, and bid method C. And this is configurable to be exactly what you want, and then you can apply that bid method A, B, and C to be the default bid method for different auctions. The way I showed you earlier in the auction group over here, you can choose which bid method you want to use, A, B, or C. And so this is where you configure those bid methods A, B, and C. Also, when you're looking at the detail page, you see right here that you have a bid method A as the default method here. And this is, again, adjustable on the fly to use A, B, or C methods on the fly for that particular vehicle. And so if you wanted to change it over and use a different method for certain vehicles, you could change that right there. All right, so extra parts settings. This would be like a fluff number. This would be what parts you expect to sell that you're not accounting for on this detail view right here. So this detail view has only got 25 part types on it right now. We just added a 26th one, so when we rerun it, there'll be a 26th one appear here. We probably actually could just hit refresh right here, and the 26th one would appear for that ABS pump that we just did. And so did the ABS pump, there it is right there, and it's got an icon beside it to show you that it was not analyzed by AI. And we're choosing it to be good based on your parameters that you put in place. So it is now there also. All right, so the extra parts would be what parts are going to sell off this vehicle beyond these 25 or 26 part types. Down at the very bottom, you can see here extra parts default value. And then we've got a number over here of $1,064. And so $1,064 is what is the assigned percentage. So you've assigned default value to be 20%. So it's adding up a grand sum of all these parts here. And then it's applying a 20% valuation to it to say it's about $5,000. Add another $1,000, get you about $6,000 right there. So this is a 20% number based on the setting you set up over here. However, we've got another feature called actual sales history, and you actually can the system will query your historical sales for a vehicle you've had in the past and say this is what you're actually probably going to sell off of it beyond these 25 or 26 part types. And so it is there right there for you to turn that on and then put a cap as to what the maximum sales history can be. If you wanted to make an adjustment to the calculations right here, it can be positive or negative adjustment. And again, that is reflected here on the detail page up at the very top. And you can see here positive and negative adjustment to the bid. This would affect every single vehicle the same direction or same way every single time. And so jump over there and you can set that up if you need to. We talked earlier about mileage discounts, and as a vehicle gets higher mileage, you may want to discount the mechanical parts to accommodate that. And so again, we've got some defaults in here, 10, 20, 10, 25, 50, and 100% discounts. Again, you can adjust those to be whatever you want. Bid method calculation, we've got you by default on bid method A. You're configured to be a fixed overhead, and then here are all of your fixed overhead calculations here. This is what we talked about earlier. If you had, $8,000 worth of parts, you want to cover, a $2,800 profit on that particular vehicle. Again, these are configurable to be whatever you want them to be. So if you've got bids that are coming in a little too high or a little too low, you come here and you simply make these changes right here for that fixed overhead. Next, we'll go to part valuation method, and this is where we could set a deduction for B grade parts and a deduction for C grade parts. That was not configured earlier. I'm going to configure that for you now and hit save. And so there you go. The price source that you want to assign a price. Remember, we talked earlier about source number 1, source 2, and source 3. These are configurable through drag and drop. You simply drag and drop them where you want them to be, and they'll be sources 1, 2, and 3. If source 1 is not available, it will move to source 2. Source 2 is not available, it'll move to source 3. We do have a regional average asking price for every single interchange number. So basically, it's going to stop at number 3 because it will find that. Even if you've never sold one or don't have one in stock, it will give you the regional average asking price there. Other parts not important. Filters. This is where you actually configure the default filters that you want for each of the tabs that you want. So you've got the 4 tabs across here, and you can configure what the default filters should be, add or remove whatever filters that you want. And then as you're on the dashboard and you click on the corresponding tab, those filters will be auto applied here. So you use these to create your defaults. And again, they can be configured for each of the tabs separately. You can see they're on extended. I even set up some stuff that we're not looking for if you're going way far off or something. So that is also highly configurable as to how you want that to work. There is also report here that you can click on reports, and you can see what vehicles that you've purchased over the last couple of weeks that you may have used this tool to find. And so, this report here would show you, when you bought the vehicle, what you paid for it, the recommended bid, projected sales, and the fee that was charged to you for the use of the tool, of this tool, to buy that vehicle. And so that report is there for you. We go back over to the dashboard, and again, real quickly run through it. You can shrink down the filters, expand the filters however you want, click the different tabs to have the different auctions appear. And so as you change the tabs, the filters change also. And then each of the vehicles listed down below will have an AI index score and a grade on them. And so ultimately, you're going to be looking for a higher AI index score with an excellent or good grade. That will be a good profitable vehicle and a vehicle that you have need for. And so it's a good combination right there to look for a high grade with a high AI index score. Those vehicles would be a desirable vehicle for you to purchase. And then, you click on the vehicle, you review it and determine what you want to actually pay for it. You could put in that planned bid amount right there. Of that amount, you flag it as okay to bid, and then you could actually place that bid on that vehicle by clicking place bid, and it brings this vehicle up so you could place that bid on it. Oh, here's a good example right here of actual sales history, and it's saying you, hey, on this, you've had these vehicles in the past, and you're selling parts above and beyond those 25 part types that's there. This is what you're actually getting for them, and so that 1831 would be an actual number for you right there as to what's expected to actually sell off of it. Also, if you need to buy a similar vehicle, you determine this is a good, nice vehicle. These are similar vehicles across the whole country that are selling over the next couple of days, and you can click the details and get to them. So if you missed a vehicle and you need to find one very similar to it, you can come here and find that very similar vehicle. That should be it. I'm always accessible via text or email. All my email address and cell phone number would be on anything I've sent you. You can reach out to me, and I'll be glad to jump on a call and do any continued training. And if you need any more details, Jamie is also in the office. She can be reached by calling her directly. You get the hamburger menu up here, and down at the very bottom is an 800 number, and Jamie is our point of contact at the office to talk to. So you could call that and talk to her, and she would be there to help you in any way that she can. That's pretty much it. And there's probably one or two things I forgot to mention, but that should get you going. Search bar up here is for anything historical and future. Search bar here is strictly for what's on this list down below. And so this is it's already applied, already got these filters applied to it, and you're only searching what is previously filtered. This is searching everything, even historical stuff, with no filters being applied. And so again, you can search by lot number, year, make, model, or VIN. Here, this is more like a Google search bar where you actually could type in something, like that 395 HP, and it would find that particular 395 HP and filter down to show you just those. I've got to click off of that for it to actually search it, but yeah, it would find that for you. That should be it. If you've got any other questions, just reach out and I'll be glad to help you. There it is. Yeah, I got all the 395 horsepowers right there. Reach out and I'll be glad to help you. Appreciate you. Thank you.